If you're dealing with a lupus diagnosis or know someone who is, there's probably one big question that's just always there. What does this mean for my future? It's a heavy one for sure, but it's also a question that has a much more hopeful answer today than it used to. So let's get right into it and unpack what you can really expect.
Yeah, once the initial shock wears off, where does your mind go? For so many people, it jumps right to that one big, scary question. How long do I have? And for a long time, the answer to that wasn't great. But I'm here to tell you, the story has completely changed. It's a whole new ballgame now.
Okay, so before we go any further, I want to just put this number on the screen. Let's start right here. 85 to 90%. Just let that sink in for a second.
So what is that? What does that mean? That is the percentage of people living with lupus right now who can expect to live a totally typical lifespan, thanks to modern medicine. I mean, that is a huge, game-changing number. It's an incredible story of hope compared to where things were just a few decades back. So how on earth did we get here?
It really is an amazing story of just how far medicine has come.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It tells the whole story. Back in the 50s, getting a lupus diagnosis, that was often a death sentence. Life expectancy was really short. Then, jump ahead to the 90s, boom, we see this massive leap. We're talking a 90% 10-year survival rate. And today, the conversation isn't even about survival anymore. The whole focus has shifted to managing lupus as a chronic condition, so you can live a long, full, and normal life.
Now, of course, that really positive outlook isn't just automatic. It depends on a few really key things, right? We're talking about how often you have flares and how bad they are, whether or not any other complications pop up, and this is a big one, the quality of your medical care and how committed you are to your treatment plan. So let's dive into each of those.
All right, first up, let's get a better understanding of what's actually going on inside your body when we talk about flares and complications.
So you hear this word flare all the time. But what is it, really? Well, think of your immune system like a security guard for your body. Its job is to fight off bad guys like germs and viruses. But with lupus, the security guard gets, well, confused. It starts attacking your own healthy cells by mistake. A flare is basically when that security team goes into overdrive, and those mistaken attacks get way more intense. That's when your symptoms get worse and you just feel plain sick.
So, living with lupus is kind of like a seesaw, right? On one side, you've got flares. Symptoms are bad, the disease is active, you feel awful. On the other side, you have remission. That's the good stuff. Symptoms are way better, you feel well, and the disease activity is super low. And really, the whole point of any treatment plan is pretty simple. Keep you on the remission side of that seesaw as much as humanly possible.
And this is a really important distinction to make. Flares are tough, no doubt about it. They make you feel miserable. But the biggest long-term threat to your health? It's actually not the flares themselves. It's the potential for more serious long-term complications that can develop over time.
Okay, so what are we talking about when we say complications? What are the big ones to watch out for? The research is pretty clear. The top 3 are cardiovascular disease, so heart issues, serious infections, and kidney failure. These are the big 3 that you and your doctor are going to be working together to watch for and prevent.
So, knowing what the risks are is step 1. Step 2 is digging in a little deeper so you know what to look for.
For a long time, the kidneys were public enemy number 1 in lupus. They're the organs that tend to get hit the most often. That constant inflammation can cause serious damage, and in the worst cases, lead to kidney failure. But here's the amazing news. Treatments have gotten so good at protecting the kidneys that this isn't the number 1 threat that it used to be. That's a huge win.
So, because we're doing so much better with kidneys, the spotlight has really shifted over to heart and blood health. People with lupus have a higher risk of heart inflammation and disease. Anemia is another really common one. It can affect up to half of all people with SLE, which is just the formal name for systemic lupus. And on top of that, there's a risk of blood clots, which can be really dangerous.
And since lupus is systemic, meaning it can affect your whole system, it doesn't stop there. Inflammation can hit the lungs, which can cause a sharp chest pain called pleurisy. It can affect the brain, leading to things like headaches, brain fog, or even seizures. And it's also worth knowing that there's a slightly higher risk for some cancers, which is just another reason why staying on top of your regular checkups is absolutely crucial.
Okay, I know that can sound like a scary list of potential problems, but here's where we pivot. This isn't about being scared, it's about being prepared. And this is where you get to take back control, and it all starts with your treatment plan.
Today's treatment plans are super smart and strategic.
They're not just about throwing medicine at the problem. They have 4 very clear goals. 1. Manage your day-to-day symptoms. 2. Prevent flares from happening in the first place. 3. Reduce or stop any long-term organ damage. And 4, the most important one of all, is to improve your quality of life.
And listen, this part is so important. The best plan in the world only works if you're an active participant. Your role is massive. It really boils down to 3 key things. Follow what your doctor tells you to do. Take your medications exactly how they're prescribed. No skipping doses. And if you notice anything new, any new symptom or side effect, you have to speak up right away. Seriously, you are the MVP of your own healthcare team.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the big picture here. After all this, what does it truly mean to live with lupus in this day and age?
You know, I saw this quote and I think it just says it all perfectly. People with lupus can now expect to live a longer, healthier, and happier life due to advances in treatment. That's it. That's the takeaway. That is the reality now. It's not about just getting by. It's about living well.
So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What is the single most important step you can take starting today to build that healthier future for yourself? Maybe it's making that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Maybe it's just recommitting to taking your meds on time. Whatever it is, just remember the power to shape that long, healthy future is truly in your hands. Thanks for joining me.